This is Gene DeLisiio with a featured sports interview from WDLB and WOSQ. One of the premier Marshfield Tiger athletes in the late 1990s was Matt Gorman, who played for the Tigers between 1998 and 2000. Matt was a first-team All-Conference and All-State defensive back for Marshfield. He intercepted 10 passes for the Tigers during the 1999 season and played on the Tiger team that played in the 1999 Division I state championship game. Matt was also a two-time All-Conference pick in basketball and also played baseball and ran track for Marshfield. After graduation, Matt played 4 years of college football at North Dakota State, where he was a 4-year starter and team captain. Matt was inducted into the Marshfield Tiger Athletic Hall of Fame in the fall of 2015.
Yeah, I appreciate it. This is, obviously such an honor. I'm very humbled. Something I had never imagined as a kid, is being in the Hall of Fame for my hometown. It's really an honor. A lot of the success is attributed to a lot of the guys that I played with. I mean, I played in some amazing games with some really, really good athletes. I had some of the best teammates around. We always, all the way through, we always had a lot of talent and a lot of kids who worked really hard and really pushed each other.
Well, tell us, Matt, first of all, some of your early memories of athletics in Marshfield, perhaps even before you went to Marshfield High School.
Yeah, when I was a kid, my dad would always take me to basketball games, especially. That's kind of where we started out. But I remember, going watching, Joe Imhoff playing basketball and that team that went to state that one year, and it really brought upon a lot of pride in the city, and got to experience a lot of that through watching the guys who were there before I was, and I really looked up to them as role models, and hopefully I was able to do that for some young kids too.
Well, you certainly had a great career at Marshfield in 3 different sports. I guess we should start with football. That's what people mostly know you about. Tell us about your feelings about football. What made you a success in that sport?
It's kind of crazy because I didn't really have a whole lot of success in football until my senior year. And again, I would attribute a lot of that to my teammates, but I think it was just the culture that we had at Marshfield, especially what Coach Lutke did for the entire program. But as we talked about tonight, a lot of assistant coaches too, who really put in a lot of time and sacrificed a lot of time away from family, and obviously you're not compensated like you probably ought to be with all the hours you put in with doing it. But I think before my senior year, I think something just kind of clicked, and I said, this is it. I'm going to give it everything I got. I'm going to be in the weight room a lot. I'm going to run a lot. I'm going to be, make sure I attend everything 7-on-7 and all that kind of stuff, and just see what we can do. At that point, I wasn't really thinking about college football at all. It wasn't even on my mind whatsoever. But I knew we had a lot of talent, and I wanted to be, a guy that my teammates could count on. So I wanted to put in a lot of hard work.
And when you look back at your football career, and you mentioned that before your senior year, perhaps you were not a guy who was a major player on this football team, but what did the coaching staff do to put you in position to be so successful?
Well, like I said, with all the hours that they put in, all the game planning and stuff like that, we always had a really, really solid game plan before every week. What we were maybe going to try to exploit in the other team and what we were going to try to stop. And, I always knew, what different formations could, what plays could come from those formations and stuff. And just getting in watching the film and, listening to the game plan the coaches put in place obviously was a huge help.
We hear a lot about the great offense that Marshfield High School had, and rightfully so. Coach Gadel and his staff did a great job over the years with that offense. But talk, if you would, about the defensive coaches you worked with at Marshfield and what they meant to your success.
When I was playing, Coach Lutke was still the D coordinator. But for me personally, I worked with Coach Jerry Littman every single day, and he was very meticulous about the little things. We watched a lot of film, which back then was probably pretty rare, I would assume. But I remember every Wednesday evening he would buy us Scotty's Pizza and we'd watch film in one of the back rooms in the high school and just get a feel for what we were going to see as far as talent and that kind of thing. But we took a lot of pride in our defense. I remember my senior year we shut a lot of teams out. I know we had the best team in the conference. Probably one of the best in the state, if not the best. And again, that was because we had guys that were committed to the goal of shutting teams down.
Can you talk about, if you would, that 1999 team and what that made that team so special?
I think a lot of it had to do with the culture, the family culture that we had. We had all grown up, playing from 7th grade on together, and we had a lot of success. In fact, as a group, I don't think we lost a game. When it was just us going through our sophomore year, I don't believe we lost at all. So obviously winning all the way up, through the ranks had a lot to do with it. We were all very confident, and we could all trust each other. We were kind of like brothers out there. We all really not only enjoyed playing football together, but enjoyed spending time off the field together.
That state championship game had to be difficult for you guys after being so successful during the course of the season, but any memories you have about that state title game that year?
It's kind of funny because, with all the other stuff that's happened in my life, I still, from time to time when I think about that game, it still kind of makes me mad, to be honest with you. But, it just, some circumstances just weren't in our favor that day. The weather conditions combined with the shoes that we had, I know we don't want to make excuses, but that's kind of what everybody thinks anyways. But we were slipping and sliding all over that turf that particular day, and they had a good team too. Homestead had a good team. They had some really good athletes, and we just came up short that day.
Now, you also had a standout career both in baseball and basketball at Marshfield High School. In fact, Coach Akitis told me that he had heard from you early in your career that your best sport or your best loved sport was baseball as you came up in the ranks. Tell us about your work in those sports at Marshfield High School.
Yeah, so when I was younger, baseball was kind of my sport, and then as I kind of went through middle school, it kind of became more basketball. Playing for Coach Sisson was great. He was another great coach that we had, and basketball was, I guess, kind of what I assumed I would maybe play collegiately when I was going through high school, and again, had great teammates there, and a lot of those guys were also best friends off the court too. So I think what's lost these days is the 3-sport athlete. You don't see it a whole lot, and I think that's a shame. I think kids should play a bunch of different sports. I know that, the crossover, I know that my basketball agility helped my football ability and, track and baseball and those types of things. So I think it's important for kids to really play a variety of sports. I think specialization is something that should be only for collegiate athletes, in my opinion.
Any highlights in basketball or baseball you can recall?
Yeah, we had my junior year. We had a really good run going through basketball. We went to the section championship. We ended up losing, coming up a little bit short to Hudson, but we had a good run that particular year. Beat a good Wausau West team, and again, it's the relationships off the court, I think, more than anything that kind of stick out to me.
How about baseball for you at Marshfield?
I didn't end up being much of a baseball player, even though it kind of was my first love. But, Coach Z ran a really good program there, and, Littman also when he was there. And, I couldn't hit much at all. And defense wasn't that great either. So, to be honest with you, I wasn't much of a baseball player in the end, which is one of the reasons why I went out for track my senior year, just to kind of get ready for college football.
Well, what are the circumstances that brought you into the college game in football?
Again, it wasn't something I was really expecting, but I ended up getting just kind of a postcard from North Dakota State University, and I was like, wow, there's really a school in Fargo, North Dakota. I didn't even know that existed, but I got that letter, and they started recruiting me pretty hard, and the calls and stuff, and then the visits, the in-home visits and stuff like that. But they were very persistent. They had a very good winning tradition, a lot of national championships there, and when I went on my recruiting visit up there, it was almost kind of like a done deal. they treat you up there almost like you're a professional athlete because you're kind of in the middle of nowhere in Fargo and there's no professional teams or anything like that, and they really get behind their team, the Bison up there. So it was it was kind of a done deal once I got up there on my visit.
I ask you, what's it like for an 18-year-old kid from Marshfield who likely knows nothing about the school, knows nothing about Fargo? You drive up there or fly up there or whatever, and you ask to see their facility, and they show you a 25,000-seat dome stadium. That's got to be quite an impression for a young man, isn't it?
It was, and to be honest with you, I didn't even know. I thought Fargo was maybe even a myth. I didn't even think it really existed. But when we went up there and we saw that huge dome, I just kind of imagined all those seats being packed and what it would be like to play in front of 20,000 people. And like I said, they support it up there and they sell out all the time. So it was really, really fun. It's super loud in there, especially when we were on defense, and it was pretty cool.
Tell us about some of the highlights you had during your college career.
A lot of them. I mean, I was able to start as a freshman, which was really, really cool. So I started 4 years up there. Really, really good memories. We won a lot of ball games. We went out to Montana when we were still a Division II school, and they were an FCS powerhouse. They had just won the national championship the year before, and I believe they were at the time they were ranked number 1 or 2, and we went out there and upset them. That was pretty cool. Another one, probably another highlight for sure was playing against Vincent Jackson my senior year. Just the kind of physical specimen that he was. He was 6'6" and 230, and he ran like a gazelle. I mean, it was really cool, and my coaches matched me up with him all game. I was able to follow him around everywhere he went, and held him to 2 catches for I think 9 yards, and I ended up with an interception. So it was a lot of fun, and but a lot of work went into that. I mean, starting from my senior year when I decided that I'm going to give it everything I got and really develop that work ethic, and I got in the weight room, did a lot of running, and then obviously when you go to college and you play, it's almost like a job for you, but I loved every second of it, the work that went into it.
Now, North Dakota State, as of today, has won 4 consecutive national championships. Just had, I think, the nation's longest winning streak snapped a couple of weeks ago. A tremendous program, very popular in the state. I don't think people outside of North Dakota, or certainly in Wisconsin, understand the tremendous success and the influence and the passion that people have for that program up there. Tell us what it's like to be part of a football program like that.
Well, I mean, you're almost kind of treated like you're a professional athlete just because, up there, the Bison are everything. We sell out all the time. It's 20,000 people that you're playing in front of, and they're super passionate about their team. And there is a lot more national recognition. College Game Day has been out there for ESPN a couple times the last couple of years, and Kurt Herbstreit always says it's his favorite place to go and stuff, and but they really back us up there, and what they have going on now is really special, and it's kind of cool too because my senior year was our first year of Division I. And we ended up having a really good year. We ended up losing 3 games that year by a total of 11 points, and we kind of we feel like we kind of set the table for what's kind of happening now through the years there, and just to see it, there's so much pride in what we do. And when we go down to the national championship in Texas, they still open up the practice to alumni and stuff like that, so we're able to kind of still be a part of it in a little bit of a way, so it's pretty cool.
It's still quite a jump from the Wisconsin Valley Conference to the Northern Sun. That's a very good league of football. Tell us how your Marshfield career prepared you for that kind of football on that level.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to prepare. But Marshfield, we were always competitive. When we played in the biggest division, we played against the best teams, and so that helped a lot. And then the work ethic again that was instilled upon us by our coaching staff, and just understanding what it took to be a winner, and to be able to compete was important. And my red shirt. So I redshirted for a year, and I think that was really important for me too. I was able to put on, a lot of muscle that year, get a lot faster, get a lot stronger, and I think it really prepared me for my redshirt freshman year when I earned a starting job.
Matt, you're coaching now, and I want to ask how your experience at Marshfield and the coaches you worked with here, how they prepared you for a coaching career now that you're embarking upon.
Well, I've really developed an appreciation for what coaches go through first and foremost. I mean, it's a lot of time away from family. You know, there's definitely some sacrifice with time as far as that's concerned. And, you know, I think the type of coaches that I had were never the types that were yellers or anything like that. It was always about teaching, and I think that's important. I try to be kind of a carbon copy of what I've had, and I've been blessed to have some really, really good coaches through the years, not only in high school but also in college. You know, I have a couple of them are, you know, one of them is a head coach in the NFL right now, so I've been coached by some really amazing men, and I really feel like, you know, that's kind of shaped me into the type of coach and man, honestly, that I am today.
Marshfield Tiger sports standout Matt Gorman inducted into the Marshfield Tiger Athletic Hall of Fame in the fall of 2015. This is Gene DeLisiio for WDLB and WOSQ Sports.